Hi. Today I want to teach you about songwriting. Actually, songwriting is a process of writing music, and you want to be able to write songs which are music with lyrics to them, and they can be different levels of understanding, different levels of of complexity. They can be different rhythms, different beats, different kinds of music, different things. And there's a lot of things that can go into that. And you want to be able to do that with what you're using and how to use that. And so one thing about songwriting is you need to learn how to write music and you need to learn how to read music. If you don't know how to read music, songwriting's a little harder because you don't know what to. It's like learning a language. If you don't know the letters to the language, then you don't know how it works. If you don't know how something sounds in music, you're gonna have a harder time figuring out what things to put into the program to write the music. And so, I mean, you can write with, there's several different ways that you can write. You can learn how to become a DJ. That's a good way. You can learn how to write songs with an instrument. You can learn how to sing something and sing that song. You can do a cappella. You can do songs at church and learn how to read that music at church. Church is a good way of learning how to read music because you're in the church long enough that you start to understand what music is and you can grow in that and be able to figure that out. And so you want to be able to learn how to read music and be able to go about that in a way that works for you where you can be able to write music. And so writing music, uh, it all starts with one clef or two clefs. You have a treble clef and a bass clef, and you have different notes in those that on those clefs. A clef is like several lines. Now, if I was going to go into this, I would need a board, and so I would tell you more about it. Um, and so with that, um, I can't get into it totally. I just want to be able to share with you some pointers. So the point of this lesson is to not teach you how to write music, but how to get into it. And so one thing you can learn is learning how to DJ and getting different DJ equipment and learning how to DJ. That when you get the different DJ equipment, you can learn how to mix and be able to make music with that. That's one way of making music and making a song. That's the easiest way of making a music and making a song. Um, the second easiest way is vocal. If you know how to sing, then you can sing a song. You can write it down and you write the lyrics down and let that come to your mind. And so having lyrics is essential to a song. Um, if you're wanting to write a regular song, most songs have lyrics. Not all songs have lyrics, but it just depends on the genre that you're in. A genre is a type of music that you play that has a category of music that it is. And so, you know, you may want to look at some music. One way of really understanding music is just getting a a, a piece of music that has a CD to it, or in this case now a, a download, and watching it, watching the music as it goes, usually with lyrics on that, so you can be able to watch it. And so you can be able to see what it's doing and how it's doing, and just follow along with your finger and watch as it goes. So that's what you want to do if you're going to church, is you want to follow along with the music and follow along with the notes of it. The notes are the little things that the in between the lines and the spaces that signify the type of holds that you're supposed to take in the music itself. The hold in music, you have holds and you have rest. And then you have different ways of handling those things, like accents and, you know, and you have different levels of tone where you can go up or down in the tone in a certain way. And so with tones, you have sharps and you have flats, and you have those things that tell you to either go up in it one step. If you read on a keyboard, you'll have it go up notes on the keyboard. You'll have black notes on the keyboard, and you'll have white notes on the keyboard. Every note you go up from the adjacent note that's on there is a half step. If you go up past from one white note to another white note and there's a black key between it, that's a whole step. And so you learn that through practice, and you learn the difference between whole steps and steps. And when when you have several different key signatures, these are steps on a keyboard and half steps on the keyboard. They each uh each scale on a keyboard, which is the number of tones in a certain pattern on a keyboard, the or in some type of tonal pattern. And so it sounds in the same kind of way as you see the sounds, because the intervals are the same. Uh, each interval is the amount of space between how many notes there are. So on a keyboard, you have up to an octave, which is eight, which is the same note in the same, but an octave higher, which is 8 notes higher. That's steps higher. And so when you're looking at these things, you'd be able to look at the notes on a keyboard and be able to see what you can do for reading music. And so with each of these things you have spaces and lines, and so you follow the notes on the keyboard, and if there is a black key or a white key, that means usually you follow the pattern of that scale. So if there's no pattern, if there's no flats or sharps, it's a C scale, or an A minor scale. So C major scale or A minor scale. And so that's your basic scale that you start with in most cases. And so with those things, when you want to go up in the same amount of steps with each pattern, the patterns will be the same for each note. So when you're looking at this, it has the same space of steps between each note as that pattern. So you go from C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Well, there's also black notes on the keyboard that you missed. Those are the spaces that you made. That's a major scale. So the spaces, no matter what key you're in. So I start one over, which is called I go down a scale. Let's say I go to one flat in my scale. The one flat in my scale would be a B sharp, because that's what it falls under when I use those intervals. The intervals are in the scale. The intervals are what makes the same interval pattern. So you have interval patterns that create a scale. And so your normal C major scale has these interval patterns. So it's going to be the same steps on each one. If I start one down, I use the same interval pattern. So say, since I go from C to D, there's a C sharp in there, in between. And so I skip that one. So from the first one, if I go to one flat, I go from, let's say I use an F scale. I go up 4. Well, if I go from C to D and I do an F scale, I skip a note. You understand? Because there's 3, if you're looking at a keyboard, and I hope you are, because the keyboard helps you figure out the flats and the sharps that are in between. So you can figure out the steps and the half steps. So write down the step pattern for each one and come back to me. Then apply it to whatever one you start at, and you'll create that scale. So with a major scale and then work that and try that with different ones. Once you've worked that, you'll start to see and start to recognize what these patterns are and start working on your ear. And so when you get down your ear a little better, you can be able to figure out these patterns. And so this helps you be able to figure out what you're looking for when you're doing these things. I would look up scales online. So look up major scales and minor scales and just pick at the piano a little bit. Look at diaphragms. Look at uh, tables that show the basic. They show the basic scales and the basic notes on a piano. That will give you some indication of what you're looking at and start to build in your mind what these notes are standing for and what they do. Then you may want to sing to it. So that's a good thing to develop and kind of get some muscle memory in your body for singing. Be able to fill it out as you go. What around how that interval works. And so you may want to review this a little bit. Just get some basic books. Go to the music store and get some books on how to read music. And so that can help you. And so if you're looking at just different things to use, get a piece of paper and just start working with that. You want to be able to indicate what each note stands for and what different meanings are for different things, because music has a communication language, and that's what the notes and the words on there and the accents on there and the markings on there stand for. They tell you how it works, how it goes about, and what to do with it. Now, it's artistic to some point, but there's still a lot of science to it, and you can interpret it pretty much the same way. So if you want to go out and buy a program to write music, that would be good. There's some good programs out there. Just look around for them and you can be able to find that. So that's basically it for this lesson. So if you want to just review what I said and think about it a while, you can be able to figure out things in a better way. And so if you have any questions, just call me and we can work on this together. Okay. Peace, guys. Bye.